If you've ever found yourself wondering, are they really over their ex, or is their heart still stuck somewhere else? You're not alone. This question hits especially hard if you have anxious attachment, because the idea of a phantom ex becomes a magnet for your mind. It can make you spiral, question yourself, and feel insecure even when nothing concrete is happening. But here's the truth most people miss. What you're reacting to usually has far less to do with them being in love with someone else and far more to do with avoidance, attachment, and how their nervous system processes emotion. A phantom ex isn't always a real threat, and it's rarely what anxious attachment imagines it to be. It's not necessarily someone your avoidant is actively in love with or longing to return to. Often, it's a mental placeholder, a memory tied to familiarity, predictability, or emotional safety. Avoidants think about the past not because they want to go back, but because the past feels known, and what's known feels safer to their nervous system. When your anxious mind jumps to conclusions, that makes sense. Your system is scanning for danger, even if the danger isn't actually there. They're not comparing you to someone else in a competitive way. They're processing internally while your system is trying to protect you. Avoidants also use memories as a coping mechanism. Instead of feeling emotions fully in real time, they tend to bury them. Memories, reminiscing, and phantom exes act like emotional bookmarks in their mind. They allow the avoidant to touch feelings lightly without being overwhelmed by them. Remembering the good feels safer than engaging deeply in the present. So when it seems like your avoidant is distracted by thoughts of an ex, it's rarely about wanting that person back. It's about processing emotion in the least threatening way their system knows how. For anxious partners, phantom exes can become an obsession because anxious attachment craves clarity, certainty, and reassurance. Your brain translates their internal processing into a threat. If they're thinking about someone else, does that mean they love them more than me? But this is where anxiety confuses internal fear with external behavior. Most avoidants aren't acting on these thoughts the way an anxious partner might. They're not reaching out, not reminiscing out loud, not planning reunions. It's happening quietly and internally, without intention or action attached to it. One of the biggest signs that a phantom ex is just a memory and not a threat is behavior. If they're not reaching out to the ex, if they continue to re-engage with you when they feel safe, and if their behavior toward you remains neutral or affectionate, then their thoughts about the past aren't interfering with your relationship. If they were truly still in love with their ex, you wouldn't be guessing. You'd see movement, secrecy, or divided attention. Love shows up in actions, not brief internal thoughts. Sometimes avoidants bring up phantom exes unintentionally, and when they do, it can feel disruptive. But it's rarely manipulative. They might mention an ex while processing emotions, lightly comparing dynamics, or trying to communicate something indirectly without fully opening up. Because vulnerability is stressful for them, they often talk around feelings instead of directly through them. What sounds loaded to you may simply be unfiltered internal processing to them. If you're anxious, protecting yourself starts with recognizing the difference between thoughts and actions. Reminiscing isn't obsession. Internal processing isn't emotional betrayal. What matters most is how they show up with you now. Staying grounded in present behavior instead of imagined scenarios can keep you from spiraling. You can't control what goes through someone else's mind, but you can control how much power you give those thoughts over your nervous system. That said, there are times when phantom exes actually matter. If an avoidant is repeatedly stuck in past relationships for years, constantly comparing or emotionally unavailable because they're unresolved, that can affect your connection. But even then, it's about unfinished attachment, not secret love. And let's be clear, if they're messing up and calling you their ex's name, that's not attachment theory. That's just not okay. When phantom ex anxiety hits, the most important thing you can do is pause. Your nervous system will want immediate meaning, drama, and to be sure. But most of the time you're filling in gaps with fear. Observe behavior instead of imagined thoughts. If you need to communicate, do it from regulation, not accusation. Saying I feel insecure when keeps the conversation grounded, while assuming motives will only escalate things. Regulate yourself first before trying to regulate the relationship. From a healed, fearful, avoidant perspective, phantom exes are part of attachment processing, not sabotage. Obsessing over them only fuels anxious energy and pulls you out of your center. The real signal to pay attention to isn't who they think about. It's their capacity to commit, stay present, and show up consistently with you. At the end of the day, your avoidant partner isn't secretly in love with a phantom ex. Their nervous system is scanning, processing, and protecting. Your work isn't to compete with a memory. It's to protect your emotional space. Stay grounded in reality and focus on how you're treated in the present. The phantom ex is a mental note, not a threat. And understanding that can stop spirals, save your energy, and help you see the relationship more clearly without losing yourself in it.